started.
This is where the fun begins.
Here they come.
Hello everybody, this is Wiggle Burrito, and today we're going to be going through the 10 star cards you should never use in Galactic Assault of Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now the first one we're going to be going through today is everyone's favorite villain, Darth Vader. Now this card in specific we're talking about today for Darth Vader is called Surrounded by Fear. And basically what this card does is, so every time you defeat an enemy with a normal lightsaber attack, this does not include his lightsaber throw, your stamina will be regained back to full. Now I can see why one of these cards could be useful for someone like General Grievous, who has the lowest stamina pool in every lightsaber hero in the game, but for someone like Darth Vader who has an average lightsaber stamina, it's really just kind of a waste of a card, and especially for Darth Vader who has some of the best star cards in the game, this one kind of just takes up space. Now, unless you're new to the game and find yourself going all out on the right trigger every time you see someone, this card's really not going to be that useful. Now, the next villain we have up on our list is Count Dooku. And the star card that you should never use for him is called Superiority. Basically, what this card does is it makes Expose Weakness, his RB ability, active for a longer time on whoever you do it to. And if you're new to the game and don't know, Count Dooku's Exposed Weakness makes the enemy not be able to sprint and be more susceptible to damage from you and your teammates. I think we can all agree that Exposed Weakness is definitely Count Dooku's worst ability, and you definitely shouldn't focus on using it more than Duelist and Lightning Stun. And since this video is just focusing on the game mode Galactic Assault, this star card is not something you want in your 3 slots. Now the next hero we're talking about is Yoda. The star card you do not want to use for Yoda is called Opposing the Dark Side, which basically means that his saber attacks deal more damage to villains, and villains only. Not reinforcements, not troopers, just villains. This card obviously works perfectly for the game mode Heroes vs. Villains, but since this is just a Galactic Assault video, this card is close to useless. Since you'll only see about 1 or 2 villains in a game and probably maybe even hit one of them with your lightsaber, it's not a drastic amount of damage that would really make a difference than hitting them normally. And especially for Yoda, there is a lot more better cards you can choose than this one. In addition to the fact, Yoda isn't a hero that relies on his right trigger attack too much. His Unleash is great for infantry, and his RB is good for dashing through heroes' blocks. You won't really see yourself using the right trigger as normal lightsaber attack very much on villains, if you even see some. Moving right on, our next hero is Lando Calrissian, our first blaster hero of the video. Now the card you do not want to be using is called Welcome to Cloud City. It focuses on his smoke grenade, and it makes it wider and thicker. That's what it says in the description. Which it does make the radius of the smoke grenade bigger. There's nothing about thicker. It does not make it harder to see through. So it's already kind of confusing. Second of all, you don't want to focus on your smoke grenade as a star card. It's just there to be there, in case you need some cover. You don't need to put star cards on it. It's fine how it is. You really need to focus on his sharp shot ability, which is his best one. You may notice a pattern throughout this video that most of these star cards are for heroes' worst abilities. That's no coincidence, but you also don't want to be using these abilities very much anyways. Moving on to our next villain, another blaster hero, Bosque. Bosque is personally my highest level hero, but he has one star card that you should not use. It is called Spreading the Disease. It's the same thing as Lando's smoke grenade. It says it's wider and thicker. And although it is wider, meaning the radius is bigger, the damage stays the same, so thicker really just means nothing. I personally like to focus on Bosque's LBRB, Predator Instinct ability, the best, which is why I have most of my star cards equipped to fit that ability and not the Dioxis grenade. But if you do like to use the Dioxis grenade as one of your main attack strategies, you could equip the card that makes it last for a longer time. I would think that's a way better choice than the one we're talking about now. And if you are enjoying the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this, kill streaks, and live streams. The next hero we're talking about is Rey and her Strong Mind star card. You do not want to use this card. It makes Mind Trick have an increased area of effect. Mind Trick is her RB ability. It basically inverts the opponent's controls and makes them not be able to turn. It is very annoying to deal with. I personally do not think her Mind Trick needs increased area effect at all. I never find myself needing to get closer to them by running or dashing just so they'll be in the area of effect of my Mind Trick. I don't know if that's just me, but this star card just seems kinda useless. I'm not saying her Mind Trick isn't a good ability. Everyone panics when they get Mind Tricked by Rey and can't turn around to see her. But I'm just saying this star card does not seem very good. Moving right to another light side lightsaber hero, we have ObiWan Kenobi. The card you do not want to be using for him is called Critical Deflection. What it does is makes his shots deflected by defensive rush back to enemies do more damage. I don't know if it's just me, but when I use ObiWan, I don't see him using a defensive rush as to get shots deflected back at enemies. I just use them to make ground closer to my enemies so then I can finish them off with my lightsaber. Especially for ObiWan, I think there's much better cards to use than this one, and you don't really focus on defensive rush as much as all-out push. Adding to the fact, I don't really see defensive rush as an ability to shoot shots back at your enemies that are shooting at you. I see it as to clear out long hallways when all-out push isn't ready, or there's just heavies that won't die to it. I personally found no trouble finding 3 cards way better than this one while choosing star cards for ObiWan. Moving right on to another Sith Lord on the list, Darth Maul. The card we're talking about today is called Unrolled Grip. It makes his LBRB chokehold have a bigger radius, or bigger area of effect. This one's similar to Rey's Mind Trick star card that we talked about a little earlier, and I also just don't think this is as useful. When I play as Darth Maul, I personally never have a problem with the area of effect of his chokehold, similar to the situation of Rey. And even adding to the fact, chokehold isn't an ability that you use to directly kill troopers and reinforcements when they're on full health. It does not do a lot of damage. Really maybe only used if you're being chased by a hero and on low health. You could probably just turn around and hit him with the chokehold and throw him 30 yards away from you, and you can make a good escape. I think when you're choosing your star cards for Darth Maul, no matter what your playstyle is, I think it would be very wise to equip cards that make you quicker and move quicker on the battlefield as to fit Darth Maul's playstyle. And this card does not contribute to that playstyle at all, and it's kind of just a waste. Moving right along to General Grievous, and the card we're talking about today for him is called Ceaseless Assault. It focuses on his LBRB middle ability, Unrelenting Advance, and if you're not familiar, that's definitely his most useless ability and his worst one. You can't move at a sprint, you move slower than a sprint, and you can still take damage from behind you, so you have to always be spinning around. It's just a really impractical ability, and you don't find many places to use it. Adding to the fact, putting a star card on it just takes up one of your 3 slots that could be used for a way better star card for General Grievous. And it would kind of make sense if you wanted it to last longer or have more damage, but this one is even more useless because it has damage reduction, and he already has a good amount of damage reduction during it, so it's even more useless. And unlike many other heroes on this list, this card isn't even good for heroes versus villains either, so you do not want to have this card in any game mode. Moving right on to Chewbacca, and the card Charging Frenzy. All it does is gives him damage reduction while his Charge Slam ability is active. If you don't know, that's his RB ability. It's good for taking out groups of infantry. The reason why this card isn't that good is because Charge Slam has a really short run time, so damage reduction during that seems kind of waste to me. It would make a little more sense if the damage reduction was maybe after the ability was active for about 10 or so seconds, but since the ability is so short, the damage reduction comes up, it's not very noticeable, and he has definitely some better cards you could choose. Now the last hero we're talking about is the droid BB-8. This card in particular that we're talking about is called Trusty Droid. Basically what it does is when his resistance backing, which is his scan LB ability, when someone is revealed by that and BB-8 kills him, he will heal all of his teammates in a 4-meter radius around him. But that seems pretty good at the start, but once you look into the real details, it only heals your teammates 12 health. If I was a trooper and got healed 12 health, I probably wouldn't even notice. It's not that this card's concept is bad, it's just the amount of health that BB-8 heals is not very good. And especially if you're going on really offensive for BB-8 and looking for kill streaks, this card just is a support card and helps your teammates more than you. So guys, that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And stay tuned in a couple of days for 10 star cards you should always use. I'm Wiggle Burrito, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.